It is the thing that opposes you in the weight room that causes you to build muscles. You know, the resistance training, you know. I don't need the weights to cooperate. I need them to resist me. So when life resists you, you get stronger and you get wiser and you turn into something that can be kept and that will last. If I cut my leg, I can get some medication for it, and I can take some pain medicine for it. If I stump my toe, I can get something and Band-Aid it up and put some painkiller on it, and I'll be fine. If I break my heart, there's nothing to take for it. And so many Americans are suffering from broken hearts, from family issues, from parental issues, from domestic issues, from family issues, and we have to paint a happy face on because we're Christians. And this is the way we look. We're Christians, you know, with our crosses around our neck, never knowing that our crosses are in our lives. Jesus made the toughest altar call that's ever been made. We make altar calls today. God will turn your life around. I don't care how low you are, he'll pick you up. He'll get you together again. If you come to Jesus right now, he'll heal your marriage. He'll bring you through. That's not the altar call Jesus made. Jesus made this altar call. Pick up your cross and follow me. What? Who wants to pick up an instrument of death and cruelty and follow you to a cross? And yet thousands of people followed him. What did Jesus know about crushing that made thousands of people almost faint in the desert without food to hear him deliver a message about take up your cross and follow me? This to me is the epitome of the Christian marriage, that he takes 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And we know we have an accountant's record of what it is until he crushes it. The more he crushes it, the more it multiplies. And all of a sudden, what was accountable is 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And we have absolute metrics on what it was in the bag. The more he crushed it, it fed thousands and thousands of people, and 12 baskets full left. That's what crushing does in our lives. It multiplies us, it increases us, it builds us up, and it makes us more than we would be had we sat in the lap of luxury and had everything go well.
Okay, let me see if I understand so far. So bad is good.
Yeah, it was good for me that I have been afflicted. The more they afflicted them, the more they grew. You're only strong because of the weight that's been put on you.
Right.
You wouldn't be the man that you are today if you hadn't suffered and endured and agonized and put up with stuff and went home and beat the wall and cried in a pillow to stand up to be who you are. People see you on stage and they think, oh, you're Matt Crouch, you know, you're Paul's son. You've always had it good. Nobody has it good. I don't care where you live or what you drive. Nobody makes it through this life without pain. The call to take up the cross doesn't stop with a zip code.
Right.
It's a universal call from a God who was able to stop the cross, but allowed it to continue because redemption came through it.
Help us understand that unique dichotomy of what God's doing with this crushing. It's a real tough thing to explain, and I want to hear you.
First of all, I learned is never try to make sense of it while you're in it.
Okay.
You have to focus on surviving it, not understanding it. Because the crushing is so intense and so personal and so deep that you only understand in retrospect. When you look back at it, you say, it was good for me. It's over now. It was good. Well, not while you're in it, but after you're through with it, it was good for me that I've been afflicted. The idea of crushing the grape in its original state, it would only last one season. It would rot on the vine. But if you crush it and let it ferment, it would last for hundreds of years.
My goodness.
And there's something that happens to us when we are crushed that gives us resilience and tenacity that we wouldn't have. I was writing on that legal pad, and the Lord showed me a vision of people stomping on grapes, and then took me to the text that the seed of the woman would bruise the head of the serpent, and the serpent would bruise his heel. And when I saw Christ's bruised heel, they looked like the heels of somebody who'd been stomping on grapes. And I started to realize that on the cross, he stomped on everything that was against me. He moved every obstacle that was contrary to me. And that even though I go through things now, that he has borne the grief and carried the sorrows of it. He went before me to lighten the load of it and still suffered me to go through it. And I'll tell you why. What we don't realize is that it is exactly the pain we had that made us who we are.
My goodness.
It is exactly the neglect or the absence or I am so grateful for the teacher that said I couldn't write because that's why I could. It is the thing that opposes you in the weight room that causes you to build muscles.
There it is.
You know, the resistance training, you know. I don't need the weights to cooperate. I need them to resist me.
My goodness.
So when life resists you, you get stronger and you get wiser and you turn into something that can be kept and that will last. And I think it's so important when you talk about the suffering church in the book of Revelations at Smyrna, and he talks about frankincense and myrrh, the incense was roots that were crushed, and the aroma only escaped as the roots were being crushed. And there is an aroma that escapes your heart when you're crushed. People who have not been crushed cannot access their emotions well.
Wow.
They cannot verbalize or enunciate feelings well, and sometimes it's dangerous to give power to people who have no empathy. What we need is somebody who can be touched. That's why Christ came, so that he could be touched by the feeling of our infirmity. Look at Jesus coming to the tomb, to the graveside of Lazarus. Why? I mean, he comes in there and cries about somebody he knows he's going to raise.
He felt it.
He knows how the story's going in. Why are you crying, Jesus? Mary's crying because she thinks her brother's gone. Martha's crying because you were not there. You come in the room with these people that are crying and you sit with them and you cry with them. Oh, that I may know him in the fellowship of his suffering. There is a fellowship, a koinonia, a camaraderie that happens when you walk in a room with people that are weeping and you dare to weep with them. We have fellowship. We drink from the same cup together. When we have fellowship in the suffering and we know that we are not alone. And I wrote this book because in my pocket, I think my cell phone's in my pocket, I've got 4 million people following me on Instagram alone. I've never had 4 million people following me around. That's not even to mention Facebook and Twitter, 4 million, and not to mention any of them. I can take a picture of us and 4 million people see it right now. Right now. Never had that in my life. That doesn't stop loneliness at all. So we have all of these things that suggest intimacy, but deny intimacy. And it seems like the more people we bring in, the more we're left out. And the worst part about crushing is to be alone.
Feels like there is a truth that I'm seeing clearer because of this, that God is looking for, or let's say it this way, how do you know you have faith until it's called upon?
I'm laughing, you're in my Bible class. You're in my Bible class. You know what? Oh my God, I'm going crazy right now. I'm going crazy right over here in this chair in front of God and everybody. Because I just taught a Bible class about faith and fear and how they work together and how Christians take the scripture, God has not given us the spirit of fear, to mean that God has not given us fear. Fear is a favor if you're in the jungle.
There it is.
Fear is a favor if you're standing on the edge of a cliff. Fear is a favor if you're about to dive into the ocean. The fear warns you of what is wise and not wise. It's an emotion that we need. Faith operates in spite of fear.
Yeah.
People who have faith don't have faith because they have no fear, but the faith rises up and takes the wheel of the car and says, fear, get in the back seat. We're going somewhere.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? Then when you brought that up, it was such, excuse me, y'all, I'm having a moment over here because he just gave me such confirmation to my Bible class, because what got me was, through faith, Noah, being warned of God of things not yet seen, moved with fear. Through faith and yet moved with fear, faith, fear, faith, fear. And I started debating that in my head.
Come on now.
And I just taught a Bible class about it. People think your life is a straight line. It's not a straight line up, it's not a straight line down. It's curves and twists and rocks and ridges and branches you swung across and creeks you got wet in to get to where you are. It's never just a smooth ride without dents and cracks and discrepancies and dysfunctions along the way. I never will forget when I had the final meeting with my doctors and my mother was dying of Alzheimer's. And we had to make a decision to disconnect her from life support. And I listened to all of that they said. And when I finally made the decision, my son looked at me and he said, "Oh, Daddy," he said, "you're so strong." And I swear, I have never felt so weak in all my life. What comes across to other people as strength only looks like strength because they don't see the bleeding that goes on in your soul. And I would bleed the next 20 years of my life. The next 20 years of my life, at a moment that he's looking up at me just thinking, I'm the Hulk or somebody like that. Faith rises up in spite of feelings, and it does what it has to do, and it responds to life however life goes at it. And you don't get to pick what goes at you. You just have to respond the best way you can and make it through this world. I wrote Crushing that we might have fellowship. My sister says Christianity is telling one beggar where another beggar found the bread. And I wrote Crushing to every person who's ever suffered anything, anytime, anywhere in your life, even if it wasn't physical, even if it was emotional, even if it was psychological, even if it was attitudinal, even if it was ministerial. I wrote Crushing to say, I feel you, I got you, I understand that, but there is gonna be something beyond that. That if you put your time in, as the old folks said, payday's coming after a while.